Hey, I'm Joelle Ahumada. I am class of 2013 Broadcast Journalism, Emerson College. Currently a producer at Condé Nast Entertainment, working on making YouTube videos for Architectural Digest, Vogue, Self Magazine, and Condé Nast Traveler. So I'm here to answer a few questions and let's see how this goes. Question 1 is what drew me to Emerson College? I think what drew me to Emerson College, I was born and raised in Paterson, New Jersey, kind of like one of these like inner city schools. I did feel like while we had a lot of, extracurriculars and I was involved in a lot of them, I didn't have like solid camera experience or solid like reporting experience, journalism. So when I visited Emerson College with my mom and dad, I think we were all blown away by just like the amount of equipment and the amount of the alumni and everything that went into being all the access to things that I'd never had before. I think kind of won us over in this kind of like really insane days. It became all of our first choices right then and there. So I just saw like all the opportunities. I saw the studios, I saw the equipment, I saw the people who had gone there, I saw the connections, and it just felt like the right choice for me as someone who felt like they didn't have access to any of that before. So that was, I think, what drew me the most. Question number 2, what is it like working for a company versus for yourself in media? That is a very complicated question. It definitely, the biggest differences between working for yourself and working for a company in media is probably like pay. Oftentimes when you work for yourself, you're doing things for free or very little pay until you build some sort of credibility. And then also too, just like the choice of the things that you get to work on. So obviously working for yourself, you are the boss, you get to pick the stories that you want to tell and you get to interview the people that you want to interview, whereas working for a company, you're really kind of somewhat restricted by what that company wants. So I would say that if you are working for a company and you do have stories that you want to tell and you're trying to get them through and it's not working, then that's fine. But make sure that you have some sort of outlet for you to be able to give your own stories life, whatever that is, because you also want to build that voice for yourself. You don't want to have that taken away because you're stuck, pitching your stories to someone who may not understand what your stories bring to the table or the audience that your story has. So give yourself that outlet, keep doing them, don't squirrel them away until another time. Like, give them life, you'll get more ideas, and you'll give yourself more opportunities to tell those stories the way that you want them to be told. Question number 3, as a voice for underrepresented communities, what do you want people to take out of your digital media storytelling? I think what I want people to take out of my stories is that it's worth following people's logic or feelings or reasonings kind of deeper than maybe we even want to a little bit, just to see what's going on there, mama, because oftentimes just understanding where people are coming from, it could be the most opposite belief of yours or the most opposite opinion, and just trying to understand for a second, it doesn't justify it. It doesn't say that you are malleable or that you are easily changed. It's just like oftentimes just understanding where a person is coming from or what they're feeling is like that first step to like kind of getting closer and closer and closer to not like this utopia or not like full, even cohabitation, but just like empathy, like or genuine empathy, and a real care for what people feel, and that their actions are all coming from emotions and their actions are all based in personal experiences, and just, like pulling back the curtain on some of that stuff is really helpful. So hopefully my stuff gives people like that opportunity to just kind of like dive in a little bit. Next question, what is the story that you want to tell but you haven't yet? this one's a tough question because I don't necessarily want to share the story that I haven't been able to tell yet because I still want to tell it. But what I will say is kind of like before, just give yourself that creative outlet to tell those stories. If you're not finding that a story that you want to tell is working, or it's not being, you know, the pitch isn't getting the feedback that you want, think about what it is about that story that makes you want to tell it, and then just keep it in mind and write it down, put it somewhere, because another manifestation of that story might come along. It might look different, but it'll be the same kind of heart. So you'll still get the opportunity to tell that story. And oftentimes stories develop over long periods of time. So just making sure that you're monitoring that story. What I like to do is set up a Google alert. If you go to Google Alerts and then you type in whatever your story is about, main person or the main whatever, and Google Alerts will send you email alerts on a daily or a weekly basis about anything that happens pertaining to that subject. So that's a good way to keep on track of the stories that you haven't been able to tell yet, but you still want to. Last question is, what advice would you give your younger self personally and professionally? This one's funny because I kind of like realized something the other day where I think just because I have this idea of what I want, and because maybe the work that I'm doing or the efforts that I'm putting in or where I am are not exactly there yet, I like discredit how far what I'm doing in that moment or what I've done in the past as like not, like I forget to look at the value of that stuff. I recently rewatched a few of my things that I did by myself, and I was like, oh wait, like this is good. And and this is what other people were telling me, but because it wasn't exactly where I wanted to be fully yet, and I'm not fully there yet, I think I was just forgetting all this amazing work that I put in. So I would just say to my younger self, take a moment to step back and realize that you are incredibly talented and you're putting in a great amount of effort, and that is admirable. You're on the right track, even if it hasn't happened yet, and just be patient and make good decisions and eat your vegetables. Bye.